Hello Malaysians, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much. In today's video, I would like to dwell on the topic called Should the public be turned out from public institutions because of a dress code? Now recently and a few times before this, we have heard of Malaysian citizens being turned out or forbidden to enter public premises such as police stations to make reports, as well as hospitals to attend to some injury or sickness because of the way they dress or because of their attire. Now, the reason given by the public servants was that these people who require the services were not dressed appropriately, which to comply with the dress code that has been set by the public service department. Now, this has raised the ire of many Malaysians simply because many of the non-Malays feel that it is unfair for the public premises to impose such a dress code that follows one particular faith in terms of its modesty and also proper attire. I do not like to dwell on whether this is something that is appropriate, even though in a long time ago, or maybe several decades ago, such things were never an issue. However, times have changed, and I do not wish to dwell on the issue of whether it is appropriate for the public service department or the civil servants to impose such a dress code that is suited more to one particular faith or race. But I do wish to make some points about this issue that may help to solve this issue for both the public service as well as the people of this country. Now, I wish to make 5 points very clear with regard to this issue. Now, the first point is that all citizens of Malaysia, whether whether they are from any race or any religion, as long as they are Malaysians, and they require services or some service at the premises or public places or public buildings, must be assured that they will be getting the services required, um, and they should not be turned out simply because of a dress code. I do not think that it is proper for someone who wants to say buy some stamps or make some service in the post office and be turned away because of their attire. Much worse if somebody was trying to make a report of an accident and still feeling the trauma, and then you were turned out because your dress or your attire does not comply with the dress code that was enforced. And the saddest situation is when in a hospital, you or the public is being turned out, even though they are clearly hurting and also needed the services of the nurses and the doctors, and then they are stopped simply because of their attire. So my first point is that no one should be turned out. Absolutely no two ways about it in relation to not getting the services that they require. If they have arrived there, then they must get the service required. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is about dress codes. Uh, Although many Malaysians feel very uncomfortable with this idea of a dress code, but I'm sure we should be used to it in terms of schools having their dress codes and universities, like public universities, and also many other places having their idea of what is proper to wear. in our culture also, some people coming to my house, they seem to know that coming to a Muslim house, they would dress in a certain way, but I never turn down or turn away anyone, whatever dress they wear. If they were to come, I would just invite them into the house. It is not an issue for me. But I noticed that during Hari Raya, many of my non-Malay, non-Muslim friends, they come uh, within the established dress codes or dressing of Muslims in terms of modesty and such. So I'm most appreciative, but as I said, I do not require such things. But our culture, we are very good at looking after one another. So dress codes for me is okay. I mean, if somebody or the institutions want to impose certain dress codes, that should be accepted. Whatever dress code there is, wherever we are in whichever country, especially if we're going to Muslim countries like in Saudi Arabia, there is a certain way that the men and the women need to be dressed. If not, you would not be allowed into the country. I've been to Iran, I've been to Saudi Arabia, and culturally and also in a sense of institutions enforcing certain dress codes. Now, the third thing is that in cases of emergencies or in cases of accidents that require immediate attention, I'm sure if I were the head of an institutions like the police station or the hospital, I would definitely allow such things because this is an emergency, this is a crisis, and we should not be enforcing any dress codes because the situation requires it. I think going to a police station to pay fines and going to a police station after an accident to report it immediately are two different things. So this is something that I think many of the leadership in the public buildings and public premises should be uh, intelligent enough and compassionate enough and tolerant enough to actually understand, as they are the leaders. It is not a great sin to allow such what we call non-compliance with the dress codes because, as I said, it is a situation. It's a situational thing. So that is something which I hope the leadership would exercise better judgment. Now, the fourth thing I want to emphasize is that, okay, if someone were to turn up, say to pay a fine at the police station, and that is not an emergency situation, and they are not complying with the dress code, I am requiring that all public institutions they should have 5, 6, 7, or even 10 uh, light robes, just like when you visit a mosque, they would issue these robes to be worn, especially to tourists who are non-Muslim, because if they're non-Muslim, obviously they would not understand or not know about the dress culture that is part of the value system of Islam. So I cannot accept the idea that you turn them away and they have to go to a shopping complex somewhere and buy something for them to actually change and then only come back. I think the public premises must have this. If they're going to impose something like this, then they should have it. Now, what happens if they ran out of it? Let's say they have only 10 ropes and 12 people coming to pay the fines and things like that. Well, they can exercise their way and say that, well, you can wait here until somebody is finished and then you could give them the rope. Or in the cases where, well, the person who comes, they're asking to do something else and not to pay the fine. And so you then need to exercise your judgment that, well, you're out of ropes, and therefore I think it is not a great sin or a great wrongdoing on the part of any public servant to allow the people or the citizens to come in. Turning them away, as I said, is non-negotiable. You should not be turning anybody away. And I'm very sad to hear that many people have been turned away to the point they have to go back to their home to change, and also to go to some sort of shopping complex to buy clothing for that they can go and get their services to the public premises. Now, the fifth thing that I wanted to say, and the last thing, is that I'm sure that many of the public then, after some time, they will get to know the dress codes, and there won't be any issue anymore, because they now have come to understand that when they visit, they need to do or to have the proper attire. But of course, in cases of emergency, certainly that is foregone, or not really required to do that. I think this may solve the problem that the public service department requires a kind of dress code, or a proper attire to be coming into the premises, and also that the Malaysian public should be getting their services, and they should never be turned away because the public service or premises have the ropes and also have the sense to actually use situational circumstances to apply the dress code or not, or to have, as I said, an alternative way. Again, I said that turning people away from requiring services is non-negotiable. That is something that should never happen, especially in cases of emergency. And the idea of a dress code is something as part of our culture. We just need to understand it, and we comply with it. And when we do not comply in situational circumstances, that is something that will not forbid us to complete our services or the service required. And I hope that this issue can be laid to rest if such simple ideas of respecting one another can be issued to all of us in terms of how we can manage the idea of having the service that we require, but within the culture that we have come to accept. With that, thank you very much. Hi everybody. If you would like to own my book and have my signature as well as a personal note from me, please follow the instruction. Thank you.